What's up, dedicated Dragon Ball denizens? I'm Ryan, and we're here for another episode of the Hawks Dragon Ball Nest. Very excited today. This is the first deck of the FB06 era that I have, and what I've been waiting for so long. It is the Daima Vegeta Yellow deck. So we are going to go through each card in the deck, why included, how to use it. We'll go over the strategy, strengths, and weaknesses on how to play the deck, and then we'll go over a couple cards to consider swapping in or out of the deck, including some that I don't like, but I'm seeing others including. And here we are. This is the Vegeta Mini DA deck. All right, now the deck list over here on the left-hand side, and then we'll go through each of them. So let's talk about the leader first, which is the Vegeta. So basic leader, pre-awakening, right? Just when attacking, draw a card, 15k attack, and then upon 4 life or less, you can flip over. All right, now this is where the fun begins. And I mean, first off, what a cool card. I think it looks really cool. Obviously, even online, you get this kind of alti version if you buy the deck. So that's sick. But even the real life one looks super awesome. I mean, when you buy the starter decks, they're always hollows too. So it's almost like a free alt art lead, except there's no regular alt. Anyway, all right, so let's check this guy out. 20k attack. When attacking, once per turn, draw a card. Then if you have a rest mode battle card with a cost of 2 or more in DA and its card name in your battle area, switch this card to active mode. So basically, as long as you have a rest mode 2 or more, then Vegeta is going to be attacking twice. So that means, right off the bat, you know, this is an aggro deck. And if you watch a lot of my videos, you know that I've been focusing a lot on defensive decks. My Vegeta Yellow before that was very defensive. My build for Vegito is very defensive. So to have an aggro deck, I'm looking forward to it, and I've been having a lot of fun. I know that I'm still in gold because we're in the new era here, but I went on a 7-game win streak with this deck at one point, and I won like 7 out of 9 or something. So we're still getting there. You see this list is still, you know, open to change and things like that. But honestly, I think this list is pretty good as is. I'm not going to be making a ton of changes to it. So let's get into the specific cards, and I'll explain why I just really love this list. All right, so obviously the cantrip is just going to be the Piccolo Mini DA, and we're going to see a trend. I'm having as many DAs as possible. I do not want to risk not being able to attack twice with Vegeta. And really, one thing I'll give Bandai credit for with this starter deck, unlike the previous Vegeta Mini deck, is you can play this deck really well right out of the bat. It has the cards you need to go and really go on theme and make this leader successful. Okay, so this one is one. It's not going to help your leader's attack, but having this as your cantrip is going to help your others. He's only a 1 cost, and you're not going to be attacking with him, so it doesn't help. But we'll go through the rest. Okay, that's my only 1 cost or battle card in the whole thing. I have some extras. All right, now here's Kadem DA. And this one is basically, I've heard him called a worse Frieza 2 cost. And that's true, but he's not a worse Frieza 2 cost for Vegeta because of the DA, right? So he satisfies Vegeta's requirement for attacking twice. He's a 2 cost, and he can get into rest mode because you're going to attack with him. So when attacking, you add up to 1 card from your life to your hand. Then, if you have 2 or more cards that include Demon Realm or Demon World and their special traits in your battle area, switch one of your opponent's battle cards to rest mode. So, ideally, your turn 1 is going to be playing out that Piccolo or a field, which I'm just going to go straight into and talk to after this. And then you can throw him out on turn 2, and you're good to go. He's going to be able to attack. In fact, let's go straight back to the field card here. So initially I was like, why would I play this field? Like, it's cool, it's a draw 1, it's an add life to hand, but I just didn't really like the lack of combo power, and then it hit me. It has Demon World in its traits. So this card, if you can play this card on turn 1, then you're pretty much set up for the rest of the game, to where as long as you play any other battle card, you're going to satisfy a lot of our battle cards to costs that we're going to talk about a little bit more in a bit. And then I thought about it, shoot, it's a self-awakener, so we can awaken extremely fast because we have every single turn now we have many Self-Awakeners in this deck. So the Planet of Mega, really good. I'm including 3 in here rather than 4. I kind of want to have 4, but at the same time, I think that 3 has done me well so far, and then it's a dead in hand card once you do play it out. If I don't get it, it's not the end of the world. I'm going to play out my Piccolo Mini, but I do really like this one, so I may consider at some point moving up to 4 copies just to give me an even better chance of getting that out turn 1, because it's really like your optimal turn 1. Piccolo Mini's great. You can combo him away later, but I mean, how often is your opponent just going to go ahead and do some type of removal for the 1 cost anyway? The good thing about Piccolo is he's not dead in hand, because you can use him to combo. And I guess in theory, even this one's not, because it is up to one in hand. So let's say you somehow do have an extra energy and the field's out there, you can play this card, it'll destroy your other field, and then just play this one, and then you can draw a card. So it's not terrible, it's just you're usually going to have a lot better use of your one charge than that. Okay, so let's move on. Then we have Bulma DA. So this is definitely a 4 of, really good card. Now it is a 2 cost, but this isn't one that you want to play turn 2. This is one you want to save in hand, really more for late game ending games because of what it is. It is a Self-Awakener, so if you don't have Kadem and you've got maybe a couple of these Bulmas in hand, you can play her. Your opponent is going to focus on removing it, which in essence isn't the worst thing in the world either, because I've seen people use like a final explosion to get rid of this on turn 3, which is like, okay, cool, you got rid of her and maybe a Piccolo with the final explosion. So it's not the worst. So anyway, here's what we got here. Switch this card in a battle area to rest mode, choose up to one of your Vegeta Mini, and it gets 10k power for the turn. So really good there. So your Vegeta Mini gets 10k for the turn, so it means both of his attacks, and this is a 2 cost card, so his ability, leader skills ability, is satisfied. And honestly too, I have at times the Self-Awaken is pretty good late game, because if you are, as long as you're over 1 life and you know that you're going for game that turn, that's an extra card in hand, while your leader's swinging twice for 10k. The other good thing about this card that I do like, for it being a 2 cost, your opponent is going to almost always, 99% of the time their next turn, they're going to use an attack to remove this card because they don't want to see that again. And so that means like it's not worth defending, obviously, at a 5k, but it is a waste of their attack, which your board is usually going to be wider by then anyway. So it's pretty nice to see them kind of, in essence, waste an attack to make sure that you're not going to get 30k next turn. And I mean, honestly, if they don't, like, it's terrible, because you could play a second one. You've got other Vegetas that we're going to talk about that boost you. So it is something they 100% have to deal with their next turn. All right. Moving on, then we're going to go into our 3 costs. We've got King Gomah here. This is one of the few cards that I'm using from the prior set. Now, this one's a weird one because he doesn't have any special trait, you'll notice here. So he's not going to satisfy a lot of your battle cards necessity for Demon Realm or Demon World. But he does have the DA, right? So the DA is what we need for Vegeta, right? The DA. So he does satisfy Vegeta's move. And what else about him? He's a double attacker too. So now you can throw this bad boy out, attack twice, and then you can attack twice with your Vegeta. That's a lot of pressure. This card gets you some good pressure. He's not one of my ideal moves, so if we really wanted to start thinking about cards to remove, he is one to do that for, which is why I think I only have 3. Yeah, so I do only play 3 because I did move down. I started with 4, but I moved down to fit in some other cards in there. But pretty good. Okay, now this guy is like my underrated MVP. The Kraken DA. I love this card. I absolutely love it. It's a 3 cost, 25k attack, and 5k combo power. And honestly, I'm like... I mean, I probably wouldn't play it if it had 0k combo, or if it had 20k attack, but this, when attacking, is so good. So, and this is why I love the field out there, and you really want to make sure that this deck just has a lot of Demon Realm or Demon World, because in essence, with that, you're going to have a free energy. So, as it notes, if you have 2 or more cards with Demon Realm or Demon World in your battle area, switch up to 1 of your energy to active mode. Like, that's crazy. In a deck that is like as aggro as possible, as swarm the board as quickly as possible, that 1 extra charge can be the difference between playing this guy on turn 4 with 4 charge, you play him out, or other 3 costs, which a lot of our battle cards are, and just having 1 energy, or playing this guy out, unresting an energy to get to 2 and playing a Bulma. Like, that's huge. Or a lot of times you can play another 3 cost depending on. If I can get this guy out turn 3 and 4 and my opponent doesn't deal with him, then I'm unresting 2 energy. And it's happened. And he's not extremely challenging to defend with the 25k power. You know, we're talking about getting this guy out turn 3, where your opponent's only going to be matching this 25k, maybe a 30k with a 3 cost attacker. Even 4 costs, I mean, there's not going to be many that are hitting you for 35. So they're going to have to be using extras. They're going to be using a lot of stuff to try to get this guy out of there. And he's not that hard to defend. I honestly have no problem many times like dumping my hand to defend this guy, because it's so valuable to have that extra charge. You can end games by turn 5 sometimes when this guy is out there, especially if you throw in a second one and you're now unresting 2 energies. It's like, oh my, yeah, this guy I love this card so much. Okay, moving on. This one's more of a tech card. The next 2, in fact, are a little bit more tech. So I don't often want to play them in the battle area, but this guy comes in clutch for a few reasons. The first one is the biggest weakness of this deck is combo power. We're not trying to survive long anyway, but it is good to have that 10k combo power. And then at the same time, if your opponent does throw down a big body that you just can't deal with for a turn, he does let you just stun a card, right? Choose up to 1 rest mode battle card in your opponent's battle area, and it can't switch to active mode, right? So he is stunning. He's only going to hit for 20k as a 3 cost. He does have the 10k power, so many times I'm keeping this guy in hand for as long as possible. Because if my opponent does get something out there that I can't deal with and I don't want to combo away my whole hand, I can stun. Or at the very least, once I'm like, okay, you know what, I've got my opponent's board to a good spot, I can go ahead and combo him. So he's one I've played maybe once or twice so far, but solid in that regard. Same thing with these guys, Majin Du and Majin Ku. In fact, I have 3 of the other guy, and I have 4 of these guys. I almost want to swap, because honestly, like, the hand rip is good. But I think that I have so many better 3 cost cards to play that are just giving me a lot better value, that by the time I might play him, their value's kind of gone. Your opponent's hand is going to get down like pretty quickly because of the pressure that you're giving. So there's not always going to do it. I don't like the 20k attack. I think when we're aggroing, when we're trying to end the game fast, like a 25k body is doing a lot more for me than a 20k, because they just have to combo much more out, and I'm hitting their board. So I just don't like it as much, but the reason I've got 4 of them is the 10k combo. However, as I think about it, like I said, if I really did have to play 1 of these, I feel like this one's just a little bit better with the stun, more for like later games, like if I get hit by a Gogeta that I can't deal with yet, or maybe even a Broly, this guy's one to throw out, rather than this guy for like a 1 card hand rip. I don't know, I just feel like that. So I may kind of swap those at some point, but that's how I have it now. Now Panzy's another great one. This one's, when they talk about Kadem being a worse Frieza, this one to me is a better Frieza. It is a 3 cost, so it's 1 more, but the 25k attack is great with the 5k combo. So this is basically it, and it's anything. So this is almost like the the 3-cost Frieza of last set, but better in some ways. So add up to 1 card from your life to hand, then choose a battle card in your opponent's battle area and switch it to rest mode. So you're resting anything regardless of cost. So when your opponent wants to get cute and try to go for game next turn and throw out a card and just leave it there, then you answer with a Panzy, you rest that card. Obviously she can't attack it, but then you can get some other battle cards, your leader or something, to go from there. And it's a Self-Awakener. So we've got turn 1, 2, and 3 Self-Awakeners. Ideally, you kind of want to be able to play this guy out turn 3, but if you can't, then she's going to usually be your ideal turn 3 play to get you awakened, and then next turn you're going to be throwing out the Kraken likely. So this one's really good. I definitely think you should have 4 of these in this deck. Just the ability to rest anything when attacking is great, and she's again, 25k is not that hard to defend. You do want to be defending board with this as much as possible. Like, force them to use extras that are going to make them not be able to pressure you. Because then once you start getting out the Krakens and unresting energy, you're just going to really, it's really easy to build this board back up again, which is what I like. All right, now let's move on to the Saiyans of the deck. All right, so we've got Vegeta Mini DA. This one is the non-starter SR for this one, right? So this one is on play. Choose a rest mode battle card with 3 or less and KO it. Then your leader with DA in its card name gets 10k power for the turn. So this one's super good card, right? Now basically, let's say he's your only... Even if your opponent destroys your board and he's the only one on, which is why I'm like, cool, destroy my board with extras and then you have 0 pressure against me, because then we're going to throw this guy out and now we've got 3 attacks for 30k, even if he's the only card we're playing. That's pretty good. And if they've got a 3-cost out there, we KO it. So that's nice too. Now I initially wanted 4 of these guys in the deck, and I didn't pull them initially, but I ended up kind of liking it because I don't find that he's like the optimal play a lot of times until we're maybe going for game or things like that. So he's, you know, a lot of times I may just want to throw out the Kraken, unrest, and throw out the Bulma. You know, it gives me the energies a little bit. Whereas this guy is just straight up 4. So that's kind of why I'm not mad about it. Now, if you... in person, like with your physical deck, you may want to go 4 because you don't have this guy right now. This one is a little bit more of a tech card as well. One that I'm not really playing unless I'm maybe going up against certain decks that really want to bottom deck you or destroy your board. And I'm still kind of on the fence about it. I've probably only played him once. But it is a cool card. I think this one's going to be one of the ultimate battle prizings. It's almost like a worse Frieza secret rare in some ways, right? He's a 4-cost 30k, and if your leader is Vegeta Mini, he gains barrier. So that's pretty cool. So if your opponent is going Broly and destroying your board, then he can survive that, right? If your opponent is heavy on bottom decking, like in blue, you could throw this guy out there too. So I think he has his place in the deck. But again, you know, as I'm talking about it, like, I don't care too much if my opponent destroys my board and uses a lot of tech on that. So sometimes barrier, in my opinion, backfires because your opponent will just go face, and you honestly, like, don't want your opponent to go face as much as possible because your combo power is low. You want them to actually go after your battle cards so that you can save cards in hand. If you want to defend them, it costs a lot less to defend a 25 and a 30k. So, you know, you've got that, but you're not really going to leave him unrested anyway. But anyway, the cool thing about him, though, is he has the 5k combo. So that's why I also like him. He's a good one to combo out. You know, he's maybe a little bit worse overall than the Vegeta DA, the 4-cost, but I think he has his place in the deck. Obviously, and you might just go with the 4 total of the SR Vegetas until Ultimate Battle, but test this one out in your deck. If you don't like it, just go straight up with the 4 of the others, or whatever you want. All right, now this guy, this is one I feel like you need 4 of because you want this card a lot. This is one of, like, obviously it's a 5-cost. It's like the best card of the starter deck. It's meant to be the best card of the starter, I think. This one's just so good. Activate main once per turn. Choose up to one rest mode battle card with a cost of 4 or less in your opponent's battle area and KO it. Then switch this card to active mode. So this is basically a crazier Majin Vegeta card, because you're able to KO a 4 or less, which is just crazy. Obviously, it has to be rested, but I mean, this card just eats black up because you're going to be able to just KO their Super Saiyan 4 secret rares. So I just love this card against black, and the 4 cost is there's like such a huge difference, if I could get in camera, between a 3 and a 4 cost in terms of power. So this one really helps you with dealing with the boards. So I love this card. I want 4 despite there being 0 combo and it being a 5, because when I want to play it, I want to have it in hand. So that's why I'm going for... actually, I'm sorry, I only went with 3. I did want that, but I think I ended up having to sacrifice 1, right? So, okay, so I have 3, and I usually find it when I need... You know, kind of on the other hand, I removed 1 to put 1 of him. So you could, in essence, maybe think about going like 3 of each of the Vegetas. Maybe 3 and 4 or something. Anyway, whatever you want to do. But that's how I've got it. All right, then we've got Dende Mini. Might as well stay on theme. You could put whatever super combo you want. All right, so let's talk about extras now. And we already talked about 1, obviously, the Field Planet of Mega. Then we've got the results of training. This is another one where I did want 3. I think 3 is the sweet spot for this, but I really wanted to keep this deck at 50 for consistency's purposes, and there's not a ton of draw power. So I ended up only having room for 2. And I think that's okay. As I'm playing, I'm usually using all of my energies on battle cards. The Kraken is really one that sometimes you can help to set up for a results of training on as an activate battle opponent's turn. I prefer to use it more for defense, considering the lack of combo power. But that's that. So your cards that are in a battle get 15k for the battle. Then if there's a rest mode battle card with 3 or more, draw a card. So make sure that you're playing this one out when there's a rest mode card. That's something to remember, just like the 7 or more. But usually you're not going to really wanting to be used this early game anyway, and that's why I like to use it to defend a hit from my opponent, because usually I can use it on a 3 cost, right? But this card is just so good. I think it's going to be a staple across many yellow decks now. So I was lucky enough to pull in my starter deck the full art of this one. It looks so cool. Yeah, this one's cool. All right, next up, we're going back old school to FB02. In my opinion, Blue Power Awakening, with the way that things are going now, is a necessary card in this deck. So Blue Power Awakening, we've got 2 options here. The first of which is usually what I'm going to be using, but the second one comes in clutch. Choose up to 1 of your opponent's rest mode battle cards with 6 or more and KO it. Now that we're seeing the advent of the Gogeta 6 cost, this one can just help you destroy even the secret rare Goku from red. But huge is with Broly. We're able to get rid of those Brolys if we and force them to start over on their kind of chain of ramping into the 9 cost. So good. It's so necessary. This card's going to keep you alive and let you continue on and deal, because otherwise, as you notice, your strongest attacker is a 30k in this deck. So that's something to really think about. Is like, yes, you're going face as much as possible, and you can ignore board to an extent. But when you start to get these huge battle cards out there that you can't deal with for multiple turns, you're not going to survive with having so many 5k or 0k combos. So the Blue Power Awakening, for only costing 2 and destroying a 6 cost, is key. I have used this card to go for game too. You know, sometimes if you're defending board so much and you want to go for game next turn, this 25k for the 2 cost is good when you don't have anything else to use that 2 charge on. So the second one comes in clutch, but really what we're doing is using this to get rid of the Brolys, to get rid of sometimes even the 6 cost secret rare Frieza is one that I'm using it to get rid of as well. So really good card. I'm playing 2 in this deck. It's another one where I wish I could put 3 because occasionally I'm not finding it in time. Like two of my losses are against Broly because I couldn't find Blue Power Awakening fast enough. So, you know, that's that. All right, and then we've got Final Explosion, just a staple in this deck. And I'll be honest, too. I mean, I call it a staple. It's a staple in yellow. I don't use this very often. I think that, you know, the fact that we can just kind of swarm the board, and we've got attackers that can go up to 25 and get our leader to 30k. It's pretty easy to focus more on swarming. I will consider removing this card. I you know, maybe to put back in one each of the other 2 extras to go up to 3 each. I don't use it too often, but I just think still it's good to have in case your opponent's board's getting out of control. The fact that we could hit 4 costs is really big to help us. If the problem is that when we're using this, because this deck is so aggro, there's going to be times when if we don't have anything else on board, I'm not going to be able to leader swing twice now, which I think is big. You know, we don't want to waste a turn not using our leader skill. So that's why I'd consider it, but I still need to do more testing with it and see, like, I just feel like it'll come in handy. Too much to remove yet, but it's kind of on my list of like cards that are on notice. Let's go over the strategy, strengths, and weaknesses of the deck. The strategy is awaken quickly. You want to, like, if you can awaken by turn 3, which you oftentimes can, that is ideal. And honestly, like, you want your opponent to awaken you turn 3. If you can get the field out and then Kadem out turn 2 to take 2 life, and if you go first, a lot of times you're going to be awakened and just be able to do your next biggest thing is play Kraken turn 3. If you're not awakened turn 3, you're going to want to play Panzy to awaken yourself and get 2 attacks so that you can pressure. Like, this is what it's all about, is pressuring your opponent. Obviously, be a little bit strategic in terms of awakening them. You know, if you could keep them at 5 for a turn and force them to play a card that self-awakens, cool. But if you've got enough attacks to bring them down and get them awakened quick, just do it, because we need to go in. You know, we need to go in. Our attackers are a lot of 3-cost cards that are easy to remove, so you don't really want to leave them just standing that often. Use that attack, and, you know, go with the mindset that your opponent is going to remove that card the next turn. So pressure. And then kind of later game, we're focusing on getting the Bulma and either of the Daima Vegetas out there. I think ideally, if you get to 6 charge or even 5, like, that's the turn you want to win, where you can throw out the Daima Vegeta for 4 and the Bulma for 2. If you've got the Kraken out, you can a lot of times do that on turn 5. And you can get your leader up to 40k, 2 40k hits, your Vegeta 40k. It can get pretty crazy out there, so it's really cool. I love this deck. Let's switch back over to the leader over here. Yeah, let's throw him up there. All right, now the strengths, it's full of self-awakeners. This deck is full of self-awakeners, so it's so easy to get ourselves awakened by turn 3. At the very worst case, you're at turn 4. I mean, it wouldn't be the end of the world. Occasionally, I will just leave myself unawakened. If they don't really have a board to rest, and maybe I just want to get a Kraken out, cool. Dual attackers are also big here. Obviously, our leader can attack twice. We've got Gomah to attack twice, and then we've got our 5-cost Vegeta. So there's huge synergy in this deck too. I opted out of some cards that some may call better, and we'll talk about some of them, just to ensure we have synergy out there. The deck has enough tech to really do anything that we need to do. It has removal, it has stun, it has unrest energy, it has rest battle mode cards. It's got everything we need, which is why I'm very happy with Bandai on this deck. It's almost as if they put all of their focus into building the Vegeta Mini, because the other leaders don't quite feel as well thought out, except maybe Broly, this set. So this deck was set up for success to have that synergy, which I really love. And then you can rest battle mode cards. You know, you've got your Kadem that can immediately rest any rest cards as long as we've got the DAs out, and you've got your Panzy that can rest. So your opponent's not going to be able to just keep cards out there like Whis. They're not going to be able to keep cards out there like the Bulmas. They're going to get rested if you're getting them. In terms of weaknesses, the most obvious thing is the low combo power. We're only working with 7 cards with 10k combo in the whole deck. We do have quite a bit of 5k, so there's not a ton, but then we've got a ton of zeros. You know, we do have our 3, we've got a lot of extras total. You know, we've got 2, 4, 6, 9 total extras, and then we've got a couple 0k combos in there. So that's one thing. And then the removal is honestly a little bit iffy. Like early on, there's not a lot of removal you can do aside from Final Explosion. And then we've got a huge gap here. And this is something that's important to think about, is our 5-cost Vegeta can do a 4 and less. And then Blue Power Awakening can do a 6 or more. So what that leaves you is a huge gap in removal of 5 costs. So you're going to have to plan strategically around, like, if your opponent does get that double striker out, or another good 5-cost card, what are you going to do to remove it? You're going to probably need to combo up to do that. Your leader you can do stuff to get him to 30k, but double strikers are 35. How are you going to remove that? So my biggest issue with this deck is double strikers. A lot of times I find that I just have to pray that I have some super combos in hand to defend, and just like leave that bad boy out there. leave the double striker and just like hope I can defend. Otherwise you're gonna have to do things like you can use like a Blue Power Awakening to power up instead. That's what I've done on those. So to get your leader from 20 to 45k, and you're probably still gonna need to combo up a little bit more, because 35k double strike into a 45 is not that hard to defend for your opponent. So that is kind of the big gap in removal, is those 5 costs. All right, now other cards to consider in this deck. Now the Tamagami number 2 is one that I've seen in pretty much every other list out there, and I was really on the fence at first, like, is this good, is it not? I don't like it. I just don't like it. In theory, it's a 2-cost 20k body, 5k, so he does match the Kadem. It's a 2-cost, but I feel like if you're gonna play a 2-cost, the Kadem is better. Now I think people like its ability. It is an SR, so it's like, am I missing something? End of turn, if you have 2 or more rest mode battle cards with 2 or more in your battle area, switch this card to active mode. I just don't think that's that good. He's a 2-cost card. There's plenty of other ways to just remove this card. So going back to active mode, honestly, it just doesn't do a lot to me. And it's not going to do that early game. So you're going to have to put him out there, attack, and then defend him for a few turns, or just leave him unrested and risk him getting removed anyway. So until you end your turn with 2 or more, which it can happen on turn 3. Obviously you could play him, have him hang out, turn 3 play another battle card, then he's going to unrest himself, but he's just not as worth it to me. The Kadem is the on attacking as well. You can take a life, so it helps you awaken even faster, because if you do defend him, then you can use that move again. You can rest. In my opinion, there's just no room for this card in the deck. Like if there was a little bit more room and maybe other cards didn't work as well, then I would consider him. I just don't feel like there's room for this guy in the deck, so I took him out completely. Okay, next up we have the Goku Mini DA. This is a card that I wanted to put in this deck. I really wanted to, but the 0k combo that did it. Like, I can't put any more 0k combos. I had to think about that in terms of like, I need some defense here, or else I'm not going to make it. But it's a really good card. 2-cost 20k body. The 0k combo is what killed it, as I said. But his ability is really good when attacking. If you have 2 or more cards with Demon Realm or Demon World and their special traits in your battle area, choose a rest mode battle card in your opponent's battle area, and it can't switch to active mode during your opponent's next turn. So basically you're stunning, and you're stunning any rest mode card. For a 2-cost card, that's pretty good. know that he's probably not going to survive a turn unless your board is like really swarmed and your opponent has to make some business decisions. So, you know, you could think about that, but again, that 0K combo is just, I can't afford it. I can't afford it anymore. So we didn't include him. Then we have the Frieza 4 cost. The next couple are going to be our first non-DA cards. We know what the Frieza does by now, right? 30k, 0k combo. Again, he has barrier, and then the when attacking, choose up to one rest mode battle card with 5 or less and place into the drop. I mean, it's a good card. I just don't think this deck needs it. It's not a DA, so if we're going to play him out there, thinking about the fact that it also costs 2 charge, that also can affect our ability to play a good DA card the next turn, even if we don't use him the first turn. A lot of times when people play him the first turn, they leave him standing. I don't like that. We want to be able to attack every single time because we're aggroing. This card just feels more like a defensive card. I know it's a 5 or less for 2. You can just put in drop after that, but I feel like if you want a barrier card, go with the Goku. It has the same stats in terms of attack and cost, and 5k more combo. I'm not including it, as you noted. The other Frieza, this one, you know, we don't have many 1 costs. I did really consider it an almost included Frieza in this deck, but I've got plenty of other ways to rest with Kadem and with Panzy and their DAs. The reason I like this guy is he does have the 10k combo, so that's cool, but just not doing it. He's Frieza's army, Frieza clan. Not a lot I can do here with him. I want to play my Piccolo, or I want to play the field on turn 1. I'm very rarely going to have that 1 charge left, and if so, I'd probably rather use results of training. Okay, now here's the last one. Another staple in yellow, but again, just one that doesn't fit in this deck because of the synergy, right? We know what Goku does. The 10k combo is key. I'd love to have some more combo power in the deck, as a 4 cost with 25k is decent, not great, especially for this deck where we're wanting to aggro. We want to deal as much damage as possible, and our other 4Ks are going to be able to be hitting for 30k, and oftentimes even more, because that other 4 cost Vegeta gets our leader another 10. So overall, when we think about value, he just doesn't have the value we need for this particular build. And he's only stunning, right? So that's great. I mean, he can stun 2 battle cards, but I think we're good on the Goku. And that is going to do it for this episode of the Hawks Dragon Ball Nest. Hope you enjoy this deck. Let me know what you think of my list. Definitely stay tuned for Saturday, where we are going to get in some battles. I'm trying to think of a little bit different way of presenting those battles, so hopefully we can get them to be a little bit more dynamic, but I definitely want to demo this deck, so stay tuned for Saturday's video, where we will demo and put out some in-game battles of the DA Vegeta, and stay tuned for locals. I'm using this one in my first locals, but that one won't be out probably for a bit longer. But if you liked what you saw, make sure you hit that subscribe button. You can become part of the Hawks Nest, a fearless flock of fabulous folks who love to do what we love. I love making these decks. I love that we've got another good Vegeta deck, my favorite character, and the Super Saiyan 3 or Ultra Vegeta 1, right, is what he calls himself, deck. So I'm super excited. If you're not ready to fly yet, though, that's all right. Just hit that like button. We'll show up in an algorithm near you in the near future. But until then, see you next time.